Hey guys, Dr. Axe here to talk to you about personalized medicine that is actually over 3,000 years old, and it's called the 5 Elements of Chinese Medicine. Now, if you're a person like me and you love in-depth and advanced nutrition principles, this is probably the most in-depth nutrition on the entire planet. Now, about 3,000 years ago, physicians in China started studying different types of behaviors in people and personalities and health problems, and they found that there are 5 different types of people, similar to, if you ever taken a Myers-Briggs or Enneagram test, you'll know that different people have different personalities. Well, what they found, according to Chinese medicine, is that based on your personality, you're going to have different emotions compared to others, and you're going to be wired a specific way, but your specific wiring and your own DNA and your own makeup for yourself actually is really important when it comes to what you should be eating on a daily basis, and also what diseases you are most susceptible to having. And so, for instance, why does one person come down with autoimmune disease when they're sick? Another person could get cancer. Another person could get something like chronic arthritis. Why does this happen? A lot of it has to do with your what's called element in the five elements of Chinese medicine. So I'm going to talk about these 5 elements of Chinese medicine. I'll be talking about this more in the future, but it's really exciting stuff. So think about this as well. Different emotions cause disease in specific organs. Did you know that? The emotions you experience. So think about this. If you experience the emotion of fear, or think about if a child has a nightmare at night and they get really scared, what can happen? They can wet the bed. So the emotion of fear affects the kidneys, the bladder, and other areas of the body. And in Chinese medicine, it was known that your reproductive organs, your kidneys, and your adrenal glands are affected by the emotions of fear. So if you're a person that has a lot of fear in your life, that emotion of fear will cause dysfunction of your reproductive health, and it can cause infertility, PCOS, low testosterone in men, and a number of other health conditions. Adrenal fatigue is another one, and that really relates to a certain element as well. So I'm going to go through the elements, the emotions, and the foods that are best for each element. So the first element I just talked about is the water element. Now, if you're a water element, your personality type is very go with the flow, very chill. Think about the Caribbean, right? And different nationalities tend to be different elements. And so somebody who is very go with the flow, very chill. These water elements tend to be the people that you would go to for advice. They're very deep, they love philosophy, love reading, and they tend to be introverts. Those people tend to have more fear, like fear of being out in public too much, or fear of failure, fear of letting somebody down like their parents. Water elements can experience fear, but water elements, when they are balanced, have courage, and they're known for their wisdom there as well. In terms of best foods for water elements, dark colored foods such as blueberries, blackberries, doing seaweed, and things like foods like sushi are great for water elements. All right, next element is the metal element of Chinese medicine. Now, metal elements tend to be very black and white. There are also people that are very organized. Think accountants, okay? People that are very organized and structured in their lives. Those are metal elements. Those people, if they are out of balance, can experience depression and grief. Those emotions of depression and grief affect the immune system, so the lungs and the colon, and can lead to issues over time like autoimmune disease or inflammatory bowel disease. It can affect the lungs and respiratory system, and also can be related to sometimes other forms of digestive issues. But again, autoimmune disease is common. So if a person has a lot of depression and grief in their life, maybe they lost a loved one, that can affect them negatively, but especially for metal elements. Now, metal elements, they get a lot of things done. They're great at delegation, they're great at organization, so metal elements are great for that. Metal elements are associated with the winter time, or early winter, late fall, and metal elements should be consuming foods that are light yellow in nature and that are pungent. So think ginger and chicken broth and cauliflower and onion and garlic. These foods that are white and light yellow really correspond with metal elements supporting them. So think about horseradish and ginger, how those clear the lungs, but they're anti-inflammatory for the bowels. Metal elements do great with those foods. The next element we're going to talk about is the earth element. Now, the earth element, think about Mother Earth, or think about a mother being very nourishing. Earth elements tend to have more rounded features, and they also are sort of, again, people that are motherly and loving. They're also, if they were an animal, they would be a golden retriever. They're the people that are joyful, they're happy, you love being around them. The emotion they can experience, though, is worry, which is connected to the stomach and the pancreas and the spleen. So think about this. You ever worry so much you give yourself an upset stomach? That's because the emotion of worry affects your upper GI. And earth elements do great with foods that are associated with the fall or late summer, early fall. So think about pumpkin and squash and beef, things that are sort of that lightish red or very orange color. Those are associated with earth elements, very nourishing to them. Now, the emotion of worry actually can affect the upper GI and the pancreas. So those people are more susceptible to weight gain and diabetes. So some of the best herbs and foods for them can include astragalus and cinnamon. Again, cinnamon is that orange reddish color, very good for that organ system. The fourth element is going to be the wood element. Now, I'm personally a wood element. Wood elements look like, think about wood, the roots of a tree, okay? They're taller, they're a little bit leaner, lankier. You can see their veins sometimes. And they actually, if they have negative emotions, can experience impatience, frustration, or even anger. For myself, I hate traffic jams. I have a hard time being patient. And so for me and for the wood element, we really need to nourish the liver and gallbladder, and you do that with green foods. It's sprouts, it's foods that are sour, it's Granny Smith apples. Veggie juices are very, very good for the wood element for nourishing the liver and gallbladder, and herbs like milk thistle and turmeric. And then last but not least, fire elements. Now, fire elements tend to be from a personality type. Think about a very charismatic or fiery Italian man or woman, or a Hispanic Italian man or woman. Fire, more dark complected. These people tend to be very passionate, sometimes dramatic, but they're related to the fire element. They consume foods or can benefit from foods that are red and brown. So think about coffee, dark chocolate, hot peppers. These foods are very nourishing to your fire element, which is related to your central nervous system as well as your heart, okay? And so in order to nourish those areas, you want to support those areas. And also, those people tend to have a little bit of anxiety or sort of an emotional response when they get stressed. And a great way to sort of calm that down is by consuming herbs that are calming to the nervous system, like lavender essential oil. So listen, I could talk for hours about the 5 elements, but look it up for yourself, or read, Google search online, Dr. Axe 5 Elements of Chinese Medicine, and you can learn more. But again, just know that personalized medicine, there's not one diet for everybody. All of us should be eating based on our element according to over 3,000 years of research from traditional Chinese medicine. I hope you've enjoyed this video.